Morning everybody, it's Chris from Serene Education with the 4 majors analysis update for the 13th of September 2012. Hi guys, just looking at the euro pair to start with on our weekly. You can see nice bullish candle last week, really punching higher now, and we're heading up to the 50 period moving average, which coincides quite nicely with our prior major support and resistance level is the 1300. You can see a lot of support through this period here, early February, March, April, May of this year, before we saw that breakout in mid-May. So here the 50 period moving average as well as that 1300 is going to be our next target. Yes, the CTC on this longer term time frame is still looking negative because we're still trading below the major trend line. What is that all important institution moving average, which is way up here at 13600. So got to do a lot of work still to do to be still looking positive long term. However, we are making headway to the upside, and in doing so we have broken a previous trend line here just recently. Last week bullish engulfing, breaking higher, and moving up to the 1300 now. So as it stands now, target should be roughly around about the 1300. If you look at the daily, you can quite clearly see that 1300 here. You've got to make a note of that 1300 major support and resistance level in play. There we go. Institution moving average 20 and 50 all below price, which is fantastic because that tends to tell us that the intermediate trend, i.e. our smaller time frame trend, is still very much up. CTC has gone blue recently, a nice break above a prior consolidation area here, has seen price moving higher, consolidating at certain areas but moving higher after the breaks, and you could have actually taken some profit along the way. So really good breakout pullbacks and moving to the upside, all showing sentiment to the upside. Most importantly, now we've actually made that crossover over the institution moving average for the first time in as many, well, since the last time I think we were back up there was in September of last year. So a full year ago was the last time we actually were trading above the institution. So good sign, be trading above the institution, get above 1300 even better. But you can see clearly breaking higher, bullish engulfing after this little consolidation here. This little candle over here, indecisive yesterday because of the outcome of the ECM announcement in Germany yesterday, but still very much a candle above a price support and resistance in the shape of the institution moving average. And this morning on the Asian session, moving slightly higher, very tentatively. These ranges will start getting smaller and smaller as we head into this major support and resistance level now. So if anything, we could see a bit of consolidation now as we head into this psychological major support and resistance level at 1300. We could even start seeing some bearish sentiment coming in now. So if you're not in this trade, be aware we could see consolidation. If we look at our small time frames, the 4 hour in particular, our RSI is well overbought, and you can see the ranges. This is prior to the ECM minutes or outcome yesterday. Very major spinning top, followed by this exhaustion candle, and then we've seen price moving higher after these indecision candles, but not very decisive enough, and clearly showing you that there's likely to be a change in sentiment now as we head into this major support and resistance level above us in the shape of the 1300. So be aware of it. There it is, not too far away. So we're starting to see a bit of slowdown now as we head into this major support and resistance level. CTC has been blue for a number of weeks now, which is fantastic. All the moving averages below price, confirming that we should be looking for upside. But just be aware of this major support and resistance level here. We could see a bit of consolidation as we head into it. On to sterling. Let's have a look at the weekly. Yeah, very bullish. After this break of this consolidated range here at the 157500, noticeably for a long period of time here we saw price really consolidating at this 157500 mark here. There we go, which brought all the moving averages together. So you can see price not really moving anywhere very quickly, and you can see price just spending June, July and August going sideways, and then we had this nice breakout towards the end of August. Not a very convincing candle, however still very much a break to the upside. CTC by this stage had gone positive, so we had all our criteria in our favor. The 4 parts of our template strategy in favor. The blue arrow, blue candle, and the CTC on the other side going blue. But we needed that all-important break above. Got it. Now needed to find support, and it did over that week. And now we're heading higher. Up towards the 1600, break straight through that. So as it stands now, where's it likely to go to? Well, we have this downtrend. There we go. And you can see that price is now come unstuck, or has attempted this downtrend line over here as we speak. So if we move to, what's that, roughly around what's the high of that candle there? The high is 1613. So if we move to the daily, let's have a look at that 1613. Yeah, there we go. Pretty much in where prices Yesterday's candles traded straight into it. This morning on the Asian session, not very much movement at all. Yes, a bit of a reattempt of those highs, however trading at the lower end of the candle. A bit of exhaustion coming in, consolidation as we head into this major weekly downtrend line. CTC is still positive across the board. You can see all the moving averages have crossed over and everything's looking fantastic for further highs. However, we do need to see a break of that this consolidation here, or the weekly trend line, and if we do get to see that soon, then we can start looking at the all important 1613 as our next particular target to the upside. A break of the psychological area would see price rallying up towards that area as we go onwards. On the 4-hour chart, you can quite clearly see we've had a lot of indecision or decisiveness or clear resistance here at this 161300, which is the weekly trend line low or downtrend. You can see that RSI was overbought at one stage as we headed into this area. So this is clearly going to be now a resistance level, and we need to see price trading above that in order to see any further sentiment moving to the upside. So as it stands now, a lot of indecision. You can see the last couple of hours or 4 hours or 12 hours of trading, you can see very indecisive candles at the underside of this 1300. We need to see a break above that. And if I move into my hourly chart, there we go, there's that 1300 mark. Just make it so you guys can see it. Okay, so a lot of indecision candles, a lot of spinning tops, a lot of dojis, and you can see the RSI as we've tried to attempt to make higher highs. You can see RSI has dropped, so clearly telling us that sentiment is now looking potentially consolidative. So we need to see a break above 1300, nice bullish engulfing candle above this on our hourly would definitely give us room for thought for further upside movement. The CTC still remains blue on either side. Yes, we've had one red, however the sentiment over the past couple of days has been very, very positive indeed, and we're still above the 50% line on RSI. And you can see as long as we're trading above the 50% line on RSI, the more likely we are in a very strong uptrend. There we go, all the moving averages below price helping her. But you can quite clearly see now we're being squeezed between 1300 and this 20 period moving average. So we need to see a breach either side. We get a bearish engulfing candle engulfing this range, then we should be looking for downside downside targets, price support and resistance levels. One here at 1606, but the most important one I think with prior break was here roughly around the 1602 1601 area. So bearish engulfing here would see price reverting to the downside in towards this trend line support over here, which coincides with the uptrend. So be aware of that, guys. US dollar Swiss franc is the next one. What's been happening in this pair? Well, after on our weekly here, you can quite clearly see after rallying for a number of months since August of last year, up into this major support and resistance level here in the shape of the 1000 mark, which coincides with our 2009 support, 2010 resistance. So this would have been an all-important new institution moving average. So very, very important. Price pretty much consolidative through most parts of this year. You can see through the beginning part of this year, not really going anywhere. Then a nice breakout, moving towards these prior highs, then consolidating it again, and then breaking higher, and then consolidating it as a major support and resistance level here in the shape of the 1000, which is the institution, which is our long-term support and resistance level. Since then, bearish engulfing candle, 1 week of engulfing this little consolidation here, and price has since then reverted to the downside. It has targeted other price support and resistance levels on this time frame. Notice to be the 970 prior resistance, new support, then breakout here, bearish engulfing break, tempting the prior low, which should be in the 945 here, this little consolidation area here, and actually traded into that for that week. Then we've had the breakout. So where we're off to now, you can see that we're back towards the 930 mark, which happens to be the 50 period moving average on our weekly. So if we look at the daily here, there's the 930 mark. There we go. Notice where the institution moving average is. It's now above price, acting as resistance. Notice the short-term or intermediate trend on our daily is negative. Swing lows depicts downside movements, and that all-important 1000 at the top over here, which was our major support and resistance in our weekly, is above price. And you can see the CTC now has gone negative just recently. A nice bearish break of that 970 mark, which I told you was price support and resistance. There we go, a nice bearish engulfing candle here. Price is trading to the downside, and we've broken major support and resistance levels just briefly. The 945, yeah, the 950 mark. Clearly hesitation in and around this area here. So as long as it stays below the institution moving average now, then happy days. Find resistance here, and then we should kick on towards that 930, break below 930, then we're heading towards these price support and resistance levels down near the bottom here. Last pair of the day is US dollar Japanese yen. Let's have a look at this pair, and you can see a lot of negativity over the past couple of days. This pretty much in favor of what we wanted. We want to see a nice break below the 78 mark, and we got that 2 days ago. Nice bearish engulfing candle taking us below this major support and resistance level that we've seen over a number of months, preferably through June. This goes back further than June. You can see last year, August, September, October, November, December, January, a lot of resistance above price. Well, a lot of resistance at this level, and then we had the breakout through February. So now I'm moving back towards this level over here again and finding support on a number of months, and price consolidating at this area. We wanted to see a bearish engulfing candle to take us lower than this because overall sentiment was still looking negative, and sure enough we got it in the shape of this bearish engulfing candle. Yesterday pulling back to the underside of 78, finding resistance now, and price moving to the downside. So where to now? Ideally back towards that 76 mark. Why 76? Because if you look back here, a lot of support through August, September, October, November, December, January, and bits of February of last year. So nice huge consolidative range last year, and we're likely to go back into this consolidation range now, as you can see. So moving lower to the downside. Ultimately our long-term target would be 76. So look for entries to the downside. CTC is in our favor, moving averages above price acting as resistance. So everything's looking good for further shorting opportunities. Just look and see intraday where we can take profits, etc., extensions. So if we move to our 4-hour time frame, you can see the 78, there we go, is above price, nice support. RSI below 50% line, heading into this oversold, so a lot of indecision candles. We could see a bit of hesitation now. Ideally we'd like to see a nice bearish engulfing candle taking us lower now. Very tentative, these candles, spinning tops, indecision candles, and you can see fading to actually close lower than the previous support that we saw after the breakdown, close on 10 o'clock PM GMT on the 11th. So we need a nice bearish engulfing candle to close lower than that to confirm that now we are seeing further sentiment to the downside. If that is the case, we could take the high over here before the breakout to this consolidation here, move back up towards, and then target 100% of that to the downside as our first target. So right off the charts here on our 4-hour time frame, but you can see quite clearly break below the support here, we should target potentially 61.8 on our smaller time frames, and then back towards 100%. We want to see 100% of this initial move on the downside over here. So as it stands now, you've got to see a bearish engulfing candle closing lower than the support over here. Otherwise, we're just likely to see support now. You can see RSI, price is attempting the prior swing, but RSI is noticeably starting to move. So we're getting a bit of, as price moves lower, we're getting a bit of convergence now. So we could see potential for price to actually consolidate on this time frame. That's it, guys. Hope you had a fantastic trading day today. Please be aware there's a lot of news announcements today. So fundamental news, we have FOMC meetings announcement for the US session. This morning we have the LIBOR rates for Swiss franc, PPI month-on-month figures for the US dollar at 130 GMT, unemployment claims as well. So there's quite a lot of news for the US market this afternoon. We have the sterling 10-year bond auction. That could be quite interesting to see how that kind of pans out. So there's a lot of news today. Be aware of it. Factor it into your trading. If you're not trading or haven't actually placed any trades yet, please be aware of all the news announcements. Rather wait for the announcement to occur, see what the outcome is, and then we'll take it from there. Otherwise, have a fantastic trading day, and I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Until then, trade serenely.